Ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for joining us here today. We hope for a momentous occasion. We do have members of our press here with us. We have invested partners here with us. We have individuals who will most likely be a part of this larger movement going forward. So my name is John Berry, and I serve as the president at Central Ohio Technical College. And we're very excited to address a brand new partnership related to this specific facility. As many of you know, as we have presented information about the college year after year in our forums, one of the issues that we broached over the last several years was the changing demographic and enrollment patterns of students related to all of our campus locations. That meant that our Mount Vernon campus was not immune to that. We had good news, we had challenging news. The good news is we have a lot of students from Knox County attending COTC. The more challenging news was they weren't necessarily attending this facility. So you see this structure is about 35,000 square feet. We were only serving roughly 130 students in this facility during that time. Now, that's a lot of times because issues of online enrollment, issues of students being able to transport themselves to other campus locations like our Newark campus, where we had many of our completion programs there. We also have a great deal of students in our College Credit Plus program, which means they're taking their classes predominantly in their high schools as well. So we're serving roughly 500 students from Knox County, but they're not in this facility. And our biggest issue was, candidly, that meant we were subsidizing a lot of square footage with not a lot of students bringing income into that process. So we had been looking for a potential to partner with some organizations, some groups, some individuals who might find this as a facility to meet their needs. The great process with this is, unbeknownst to us, the city was doing similar types of work about looking at environments that were conducive to their needs as things continue to move and evolve within the city. The great news is we were able to kind of conjoin these two issues together, and we think we have a very viable symbiotic solution to that strategy. I'm going to turn this over to Mayor Starr, and he's going to kind of give an update and perspective from the city as well.
Sure. Well, thank you all for being here. This is really exciting. I will tell you what led to this is the second to the last day of the public comment period, the end of April, on our buildings, on the Justice Center and City Hall and everything. We were all getting ready and warmed up to do a whole lot of investment down at Heartland Commerce Park when one of you people, one of you guys came over and approached us and said, hey, would you consider the Central Ohio Technical College building? And so we said, okay, that's when Tanner and I frantically came down here and took a tour, and we worked with our owner's rep, Pizzuti Solutions, and they said basically, yeah, this is a place that would be a great fit for the city, and partnering with COTC. COTC is not going anywhere, okay? But so what we've been able to work out with COTC is we're going to be moving in our City Hall services and the water billing office and the tax billing office into this facility. So we'll have, the city will take the first floor, the ground floor, and the basement, and COTC will continue offering classes upstairs. And so and personally I love the fact that we will have students right upstairs from us and faculty, and Dr. Berry and I have been kicking around another idea that we need some more germination on, but we'll discuss that later. But so what is the specific deal that is happening? Well, council last night approved the purchase of the lease purchase, a capital lease purchase agreement that we are entering into with COTC for 12 years. The purchase price is $3,034,490. It averages out to about $95 per square foot of what we would be using here. And so we will be able to purchase this without taking on any debt. We will also be able to speed up our ability to get people out of the Municipal Plaza building and work on other projects that we want to have, like the Justice Center, obviously. Once we are able to vacate the City Hall, then current City Hall will be prepped for the new Justice Center, the new courthouse, the law offices, and so forth. And that will include the design and eventual build, construction of the annex that will be to the north of that, where those buildings will come down. We also, as you know, the police station is underway in terms of design. Meeting with the architect happens this week. The other thing that we really wanted to do is this really moves forward our desire to construct, or to at least start the planning stages for our East End Fire Station. That's been a need since, when was the report done with the 2022? 2022, I'm asking Chief Christopher's, I think it was 2022 from the Fire Chiefs Association. We needed one on the East End where 52% of our calls happen, so we can get there a little bit sooner. So this partnership enables us to make a lot of those things happen. The other thing that's significant about this is that the amount of work and the amount of rehabilitation that it was going to take to put into the Heartland Commerce Park would have probably been in excess of 15 million. So this, if you start doing the math, it's going to be, the savings to the taxpayers is going to be well over $10 million. And it's move-in ready, it's accessible, we have plenty of space to work with, we consolidate, we can actually provide modern city services, front-facing city services, so you can come in, get your permit, pay your tax bill, pay your water bill, get your pool pass. We are planning to have after-hours kiosks, and obviously COTC will have students in the evening, and so we're working on the details in terms of how they get to that. But we just want to make sure that people are able to conduct business with the city easily and quickly. And so this facility really, I think, makes that happen. We're just excited about that. Let's see. So please tell everyone, COTC is not going anywhere. They are still here with us and will be for a long time. And so we just love the idea of being able to partner with them and share this space. And really, Dr. Berry and I are we're kind of the visionary people, but the two who really made this happen are David and Tanner, who we were the, what did you call us?
We were the partnership initiators, they're the partnership brokers.
Yes, they brokered the deal, and so it was a lot of work, frantically, and we pivoted quite quickly, I should say. So to be able to make this happen, when we got the first word at the end of April, and here we are in June, at the end of June, that's moving at the speed of light for government and I think education as well.
That was quick. So,
but the public engagement for our listening tour was terrific. While this was not an option that was discussed at the time, I think the taxpayers will be happy to know that we're saving over $10 million of their money, and it's move-in ready, and it speeds up our opportunity to start moving on these other projects that are crucial to our community. So after decades of discussing emptying the Plaza building, we're here. So we want to empty this Plaza building sooner rather than later, and so this helps us do that. So anyway, I just want to thank COTC and the partners, and I know there will be questions that you can ask us. I appreciate our staff who have shown up today. You got the email. I will be happy, Tanner and I will be happy to talk with any of you. We'll schedule some other meetings if we need to. I'll come in on third shift, I don't care, and talk with staff. So anyway, we're just happy to be here, and I know you have lots of questions. So anyway, we'll start with the media first, and then if anybody else has something, that would be great. So yeah.
Can you talk about the timeline of when you hope to move in, and I guess when the Plaza building will people start moving over to the City Hall building? And can you discuss that?
Sure, and I might count on Tanner for a little bit of help here too. But we will be meeting with our owner's rep. I'll get to your question. It's like we have to meet with our owner's rep to do a fit study. So those of you who are here, you will be meeting with the owner's rep to see what needs you have to be able to conduct your jobs. then they will be coming over here. Bottom line is, we think late fall, we would be able to move in, empty City Hall, and then probably, I would suspect, and this is a guess, every time I guess, I eat my words, but I would guess that we could start offering, we could start emptying the second and third floor of the Plaza building this time next year. So, yeah. You guys kind of have more questions. What do you got? Yeah, Grant, go ahead.
Can you explain how the city won't be adding any debt with the purchase of this? You mentioned that, but can you just like
Sure.
explain how?
I'm gonna turn this over to our brokers who actually did the math and everything for us. So,
Okay.
Nice thing is we can do this through our general fund for 12 years, and it's gonna be a really, really good thing for us.
And that's how we'll do it. And I'll touch on actually the question that you just asked first. So what we will do now, after we hammer out the final details of this, so this is a capital lease arrangement or a lease purchase arrangement, as opposed to just an outright acquisition where we would come in and give this guy a handsome sum. Or actually this guy. Sorry.
That's okay.
What we will do next is finalize the arrangements with the capital lease. There are a couple other things in there, like after, this is a 12-year capital lease, so at the end of that, and the city retains ownership of the building, or takes ownership of the building, then there is a clause in there for a 99-year annual renewal lease for COTC, should they like to remain in the building. So we'll work out that arrangement as well. There's like another FF&E, which is furniture and fixtures, equipment, things like that. Little things that go along with the initial capital lease that we have to work out. But we hope to have all of that done, I'm gonna say this and watch David pass out here, by the end of July. So we can get rolling. But while we're doing that, we've already got an initial fit assessment. So, and what that means is, can we fit all of our people in this building, in our section of this building? The answer is yes. We wouldn't have done it if we couldn't have. So what we're gonna do is then get a local architect to come in and make sure that, working with our Pizzuti Solutions, our owner's rep, take what they've got, work with that architect, and engage a construction company to come in and do a very light touch remodel, just to make sure that our water billing office and our income tax folks can come in and get into their office. That's gonna be probably the biggest impact that we have. But when we move in, it's turnkey, and it's, we leave City Hall and 3 North Gay on Friday, and Monday when we flip the lights on, it's business as usual. That's the goal. Now, I say that, I'm not naive enough to believe that that's how that's gonna work, but just hang tight. So, we'll have that period where, IT and everything can get over here and make sure that everything's flipped over, and it's gonna be as close to business as usual as it should be. But, so that's how that transition's gonna go. Right now, our consultant tells us it should be, even with all of that, it should be about 30 to 60 days when we make that transition. So, if
the capital.
Yeah. If all of that goes according to plan, we should be in here about, I'm hoping October, mid-October, maybe early November. How does this not incur any debt? It's a capital lease. So you either pay for it outright, which we would have the cash on hand to do that, which we don't want to do, because we would like to keep that liquidity to do these other projects, right? We've got the police station, see the police chief back here. We've got the East End Fire Station that we're looking at. We'd like to go out with an RFQ at the end of the year to at least initiate the design conversation for the East End Fire Station. We've got the property for that. And then we've got the Justice Center, or the courthouse. We don't want to just call it a courthouse. It's going to be more than a courthouse, right? There's more action that takes place in a modern courthouse than just court. So we're calling it the Justice Center. That will be 40 Public Square plus. So you may have seen a rendering of the City Hall Annex. There will probably be a smaller footprint of something similar to that will take place north of City Hall. But with the immense savings that this deal provided us, we are able to get those projects going, immediately. So we've got our police station on Cypher Road, we've got our Justice Center, which is 40 Public Square North, and coming back to why this doesn't add any debt, the way that we have structured it through, working with COTC and working with, all of our finance advisors and people smarter than me, is we are able to pay the initial payment from municipal facilities cash that we've got on hand, cash reserves, and we are able to pay for the initial remodel through those cash reserves. But the rest of these payments will be made through budgeted expenses through our general fund over the next, after this year, 11 more years. Yeah. So you're just gonna see a line item, well, actually, you guys will see a line item, and the rest of you, if you have insomnia, you will see it, but you will see a line item in the 101, 3600, make up a number, 544, whatever, and then you'll see that every year. It's about 323,000 and some change. You'll see that every year until, there's an amortization schedule that we can provide that shows that, principal and that interest kind of coming down. So
Let's, why don't you just talk about the buildings we're gonna divest in and
Yeah.
also sell them?
And another big way to help offset that too is right now we have what we call the Togger building or the Togger block, which is 3 buildings on the northeast corner of the square. And then we have the utility building and tax office behind that. And then 5 North, which is a 3 North Gate, and then 5 North Gate is the municipal plaza building with parking garage underneath it, right? So our plan right now, after talking with the Area Development Foundation, Land Bank, is to divest of that block, essentially. So we will sell that in the entirety of that block and probably go into some sort of mutual deal with the remnant of what a parking garage will be when inevitably we demolish 5 North Gate, because the court will obviously need parking in the parking garage. But the goal will be private development, whether that's residential and commercial, mixed use of some sort, for a private developer to come in and, do something with the Togger block. We'll call it the Togger block. This is actually 3 buildings, it's not just the Togger building. And that would also include 3 North Gate, which is where the income tax and utility billing office is.
This, if I could just interject, this really does solve a major concern that we had when we were doing the listening tours, keeping retail downtown. Was a major point that people were making. And so if we were going to the courthouse there too, there were all sorts of anti-bomb measures that we were going to have to make, and it was really going to drive up the cost several tens of millions of dollars. In the end, I shudder to think of what it would look like in the end. So with us being able to divest of that, it secures the retail environment, particularly on Public Square, which is what we want to keep doing. And who knows, maybe an investor will want to take a look at some mixed use and some other downtown apartment living too. It'd be nice to see that happen. So
You've got that literally right next door to this building. You've got downtown mixed use with residential upstairs and commercial downstairs. We don't see why that couldn't be a thing on Public Square. You're already seeing, what's that, over on right there on the corner of Chestnut and North Main.
Chestnut and North Main.
Yeah, you're starting to see those facilities, residential facilities being invested in right there. And then that's also what we want to do, talking about, we don't want anybody to think that we just abandon the conversation at the admin building at Heartland Commerce Park. So we talked to our partners over at the Land Bank and the Area Development Foundation and said, for the same idea that we had, which, we hope that they'll be our partners in helping us sell, they are the best equipped to be our realtor really for that area on the northeast corner of the square. But when we were talking about the admin building, we said, that's in a TIF, a tax incremental financing district over there. We have some legal dollars that we could throw at that to work on some of those deed restrictions where that used to be in an industrial park, or it still is. So our goal there for that particular facility is to try to work on those deed restrictions and allow that to become a mixed-use development as well. So residential.
No promises.
No
We'll put forth the effort anyway.
Yeah, but seeing that developed is good for the city, right? So we're not just gonna walk away from that. You know, we made a commitment when we were talking to the public, because the spirit of the listening tour was, don't spend a bunch of money that we may or may not have. You know, don't knock down historic buildings. Don't be extravagant and try to reuse and recycle. Right. And that's what we stuck with. Work with your partners. So here we are, working with a building that had been invested in by the community, working with a partner. We're here in the downtown. Our city employees are gonna be here in the downtown, investing in businesses that are in the downtown. And then we've got buildings that people said, please don't knock them down. Heard. We're gonna keep them, and we're gonna put them back on the market, and we're gonna take the money that we get from that and put it right back. That's 3 years of a payment, so we're good for 3 years.
I appreciate it.
All right. And then hopefully more and more people will see what a good investment it is to invest in Mount Vernon and live in Mount Vernon and raise a family and work here. So I think this will just pay dividends and keep coming. And I think while it wasn't, I think Councilman Mahan said it best, it's maybe not exactly I'm gonna put this on you. Maybe not the letter of exactly what we were saying during the listening tour, but certainly the spirit of, save money, do the, fiscally sound, responsible thing, and try to, make it work. And I think that we did. And if not, then it was David's fault. So,
One of the things I did want to mention, and I'll let you address this too, Dr. Perry, is that this renovation was done in 2012 with a lot of donors, a lot of private investors. And so you see names and you see sponsorships everywhere, and that was one of the things that obviously came up when when this became an option. How do we continue to pay homage to the people who put capital into keeping this building here and providing this facility for our public? And so I can say we did reach out to the investors for this, and Dr. Berry's team did as well. So can you address that?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mayor, very much so. So obviously, we did have a great deal of community investment to make this happen and to bring this building up. One of the things that we wanted to do was make sure that on our consolidation on the top floor, we bring some of that recognition with us. So you probably noticed when you first come in, there's a large donor wall. Well, that donor wall is coming upstairs. So we will bring that up to that process. But we know that the majority of our donors, they did this for the common good, the community good. We'll recognize them. We've actually reached out to those individuals who have donated previously to let them know what was happening and why. So that this wouldn't be a shock or surprise, that there would be rationale and reasoning. We have a mutually compatible mission process. The city and the college, we are here for the betterment of all the constituents and all the community membership. So it is not an unusual formation. We just wanted to make people understand not just the what, but the why behind it. So we will actually represent that. The other thing I would say, and I'll tag on to this, I appreciate the mayor saying this, for the monies that we make out of this process, we will move from red to black, and that's a good thing. That is something significant for us, but we need to reinvest that back into this community. So our partners, and Jeff is here with us right now, will actually work with the foundation to keep the majority of the monies that we're making through this process here. So it's reinvested within Knox County. So we will programs, services, opportunities will still be here, and they will remain within the community itself whenever or however we need to pull from that and work collaboratively on that. Anything you want to say about that, my friend?
Well said.
Thank you. So, no, it's very important to us. Yes, my friend.
You said that everything's not everything, but you're going more towards online stuff. So